Welcome to this week's GG.CO.UK Weekend Watch. It's with myself, of course, as always, Andrew Mount and Daryl Carter. We've got some more good jumps action coming for you. We got Kelso, Doncaster, and of course Newbury. I'm sure Andrew will find something for you on the all-weather at Lingfield as well. We had a good week last weekend. Found 4 winners for you from the selected races, so I'm pretty chuffed with that. So I'd either like the same or better, please, this week, guys. Thanks. And we're going to start at Kelso in the not-so-frozen north now, thank goodness. 4 good quality races there. We're going to start with that 1:30 Grade 2 action. And I actually like something in here, so I'll tell you first so the guys can tell me that I'm wrong after. And it's going to be Any News, who I think's got a real good chance in here, who I actually thought would be favourite. So chuffed at the moment with the bit of value, so hopefully that sticks around. I thought this horse was very impressive at Bangor, and then ran really well the time after, obviously just getting beat by Make Me a Believer, who ran well as since then behind Adrimal. So I thought that form's quite good. Neil Mulholland as well, the yard have had a good week. I think they had a double Wincanton, I think it was, on Wednesday. So I'm sure you'll agree with everything I've said, Daryl, and it's your selection as well.
He is one of the ones on the shortlist, but this is one of the best. This is one of the best novice hurdles we've seen all season, and it's very, very competitive. My Drogo obviously heads the market. I'm not entirely sure that this sharp left-handed track is going to be what he wants. All 3 of his runs have come on big galloping tracks. He's a big stamp of a horse. He sort of takes a little bit of time to get himself going. And I'm just wondering, with his messy jumping, a mistake at the wrong time on this sharp Kelso track just might put pay to him. So I'm quite keen to try and get him beat. With what, I don't know, because I like quite a few of them. I love Bareback Jack. I've got a lot of time for this horse. He's the one I'm sort of leaning more towards, even though he's under a half penalty. He had a bit in hand at Musselburgh when he won last time. Now, he did dictate the pace that day, granted, on the front end. His jumping was a little bit sloppy, but he's just a quick horse. He's a fast horse. It's hard to weigh up the form. I actually quite fancy the horse that ran second to him, Tommy's Oscar, later on in the card, but we'll come to that later. But I just think he's progressing at a rate of knots. Now, that came on soft ground. I actually don't think soft ground has been beneficial to him the last twice. He recorded a very good time figure at Musselburgh on novice hurdle debut. That was on good ground over Longstay. Longstay went out and boosted the form next time. That's a well-handicapped horse, so keep that one in your tracker. And I just think he's got so much more to come. He's got a lovely turn of foot. This is obviously, a deeper race than what he's been used to. So whether or not he'll be able to handle it, only time will tell. Look, he's not going to be able to get the lead, a soft lead in here, because Lucky One's in here. Lucky One, I think, took a huge step forward at Wincanton last time. It was on heavy ground, but the time figure Lucky One ran at Wincanton was very, very good, and he did it on the bridle. Now, there may well be excuses for his run behind Any News at Cheltenham. That ran came within 10 days of his Southall win over Fletch on good to soft ground. He's going to be a big part in this race, because whether or not Harry Cobden's going to want to take a lead of something else, I don't think will be the case. I think he'll want to get Lucky One out in front, and I think there's going to be a good pace on offer here. So I'm hoping that Bareback Jack will be able just to slot in. I don't think he needs to lead, and I'm hoping that he'll just have the sharper turn of foot. He stays further than this 2 miles. I'm hoping he's going to have that sharper turn of foot coming up that stiff finish at Kelso. So with Bareback Jack, if this was run at a different course, you'd probably have a different selection, because I think Kelso, the sharp left-handed track with a stiff finish, is definitely going to play a big part in this race. On a big galloping course, you probably wouldn't want to be taken on My Drogo. But for me, I'm going to side up. I was undecided until we've just started speaking about it, but it's going to be Bareback Jack to side with. But I'm predominantly going to try and lay My Drogo, I think.
Yep, that sounds like a good plan. Andrew?
You're going to accuse me of stealing your notes, Leonna, because I'm with Any News as well. So I didn't mind My Drogo. I thought he'd run well in the Supreme if he ran at the Cheltenham Festival. You go back to the trainer quotes after his last win, they were talking about missing Cheltenham and going for Aintree. And so clearly they're not worried about a sharp left-handed track such as this. But yeah, I was impressed by Any News' last run, went second to Make Me a Believer at Cheltenham, because the winner came up the rail that day where the ground looked better, or even if it wasn't quicker up the rail, he at least had the comfort and the of that rail to keep him straight. So I thought that was a good effort. He's pulled 12 lengths clear of Lucky One in third. Of course, Lucky One has come out and won since. Make Me a Believer, as you said, was a very close third in Grade 2 company at Warwick next time behind Adramel. The form's worked out really well. Neil Mulholland's been in good form. And I was quite surprised when I saw the prices. 6-4 My Drogo, 5-1 Any News. So at those prices, I'd definitely be with Any News.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I thought he might be. The forecast favourite, well, that's a good start. So me and Andrew agree on Any News then in that first, the 130 that we're going to cover at Kelso. And Daryl does fancy Any News, but the selection bareback Jack. The 205 is where we go next. We stick at Kelso, of course. That's a Class 2, just shy of 2.5, and currently a very tight betting heat, actually. Andrew, you can kick us off if you want.
Yeah, I thought this was the hardest race of the day of all the ones we're going to be looking at. And I didn't have a particularly strong opinion, but I'm just going to pin my colours to the mast of Sail Away for Dan Skelton. First run for the yard, previously with Gilles Macaire in France. And Skelton does well with horses he takes over from other yards. Now, you wouldn't make money back in the blind except in handicap hurdles where they do particularly well. And he's a 13-2 shot. That seems fair enough. He's about fourth in with Hills have already betting on this. A lot of guess work involved. Got a tongue tie on his debut for the yard. But given the form of the stable, given how well they do with new acquisitions in handicap hurdles, I thought if you're looking for a tentative pick, I'll side with him. But if Daryl's got a confident one against him, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I was going to say a debut for the yard is a positive before you even move on from anything else, isn't it, Daryl?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got a confident pick. I've got some really confident ones later on, but not for this race. I was quite keen to try and get Flash Collonge beat. Again, another big stamp of a horse I think may not be suited to this track. He's definitely run up to his mark of 133 last time at Wincanton. Very green in the closing stages, but I get the feeling with this horse that he's more of a future project. Now, I could be absolutely spanked in these first two races if these two horses go in, but I thought at a bigger price, I thought Weatherfront might be worth keeping an eye on. Back on good ground. He chased down Chapman's Hype here. He was rated 146 when he last ran at Kelso. He was a really big eye catcher at Cheltenham next time. Behind Captain Tomcat. Now, whenever this Captain Tomcat runs, he always sets slow fractions on the front end. It drives me insane why no one will go and take him on. Weatherfront was held out the back that day over this trip on good ground. That was the last time he had good ground. And he caught the ice steaming home up the Cheltenham Hill. That was off a mark of 131. He's been dropped a couple of pounds since then. He's had 2 runs on soft ground, both over 3 miles, which was never going to suit. He's back on good ground today, a bit of course form. And, I think there's going to be quite a strong pace on in this race. So I think that will definitely suit him. And we know he handles the track. So I just thought a double-figure price for Weatherfront might be worth a bit of a punty bet each way.
Okay. Weatherfront for Daryl then. Sail Away, tentative for Andrew. And I really like Sebastopol, actually, for that. I thought back on better ground. Ground was too soft last time. Had the wind tinkered with as well. And Brian on board. So, yeah, I think, well, he's had a wind up, hasn't he? So I think if the wind up makes the difference, better ground, he's more likely to stay on the better ground. And if the wind surgery has worked, yeah, possibly. Because I just thought it was one of those races where, you could find a bit of value. I couldn't be picking a horse that's not ran for 510 days, no matter how good the skeletons are. So, sorry.
Stick the knife in.
Yeah, sorry. So Sebastopol for me, just about. But yeah, it's one of those races where we've got a few question marks, haven't we? So anyway, we move on to the 240. And again, just a small field here for this listed chase. Good looking race, though. Small field. And we've got definitely Red trying to win this back to back. Do we think there's a chance of him doing that, Daryl?
I do think he's got a fair chance. I would just worry about that fall at Newcastle last time. It looked quite heavy, and he's been off since. That didn't look great, and he's getting on now. He's 12 years old. I mean, it's probably slightly stronger race than last year, this race. You couldn't write him off. Look, he's a great horse. He's been a great servant. Would I want to be backing him? Not 4-1, not really. ASO has got everything in his favour here. He's £9 better off with 2 for Gold, but he's 0 for 5 over 3 miles. They've continued to try to get this horse to run over 3 miles. And I'm just not convinced that he stays the trip. He falls short of graded company. He's been lugging big weights around in handicap. This does look like a good bit of placing, but the trip would just have to be the question mark for me. I thought 2 for Gold, even though he's worse off at the weights with ASO, would be the one that would be benefited from going back up to 3 miles. The one I'm going to side with is actually Cloth Cap. I don't really feel there's any reason to abandon him. Now, I know it was a handicap he won at Newbury, the Ladbrokes Trophy. I know that's essentially only a handicap, and this is tougher on paper. But the cheap piece of retained, that was a career best. He jumps well. He's improving. He's going to be ridden prominently. There's just a lot to like. The ground's come right for him. I just think he's got very few question marks, whereas the others, like, you'd want to not forgive, definitely, Red, but you'd take it on trust that he's not feeling the effects of that fall. ASO with the trip, 2 for Gold, probably not many question marks to answer, but I do feel he's beatable at 3 miles. And I just think, I'm hoping that Cloth Cap will just go off the front end here and just jump him into submission, really. I think if he jumps the first couple like he did at Newbury, I don't think 2 for Gold is going to be able to live up with him at the early pace. So I think he might get the lead his own way. So a tentative selection, but Cloth Cap I think is worth keeping on. So I'm surprised he's as big as 5 to 1, 6 to 1.
Yeah. Okay. Cloth Cap for you then, Andrew. Is there anything that you like in there?
Yeah, tricky old race, this one. I thought 2 for Gold and ASO might be flattered by their Warwick 1-2. They both raced up with the pace on a track that was favouring front runners more so than usual that particular day. ASO, there's still the doubt about the trip as well. So, much as I respect him, I'm tempted to go with last year's winner, Definitely Red, here for Brian Ellison. He's always gone best in smallish fields. He's got a good record at the track. And at the prices, he's run about 4 to 1/3 in. I thought he could be the way to go. But again, like Daryl, my more confident selections come later on the card, and this is another one where I was sort of treading fairly cautiously, but definitely Red, the one I prefer.
Okay, that's the 240 then. So we've got Definitely Red for Andrew, back from that recent-ish form, and Cloth Cap for Daryl. I think is that it for Kelso?
3:15, I think.
3:15. Oh yes, I'm missing one out. Oh yeah, the Morebattle Hurdle, of course. So the 3:15 is where we go next, and I don't think this is any easier, is it? Goodness me. Really good prize money incentives as well for this year. Obviously, a lot of these are entered for Cheltenham, so I suppose that could make a bit of a difference to what you like or what you're going to go with. What angle are we going to go for this then, Daryl?
The unexposed second start in a handicap for Tommy's Oscar. Quite fancy him for this race. Let's make no mistake about it. The Shunter is obviously a very worthy favourite. A £7 rise for his Greatwood win, is very lenient in my opinion. But Tommy's Oscar, he's off a mark of 133. Ran really well last time at Musselburgh behind Bareback Jack, who I like in the earlier race. And he was just tapped for a bit of toe between the third last and the second last, and then he stayed on really strongly. I think this horse is probably running over the bare minimum trip of 2 miles, but I don't think he's short of speed at all. Prior to that at Musselburgh, he absolutely destroyed the field in a canter, really, off a mark of 124. He was given a £9 rise. He had the beating of Gubernator, who I tipped that day at the final flight. He come down at the final flight, but he had him more than covered. That horse is rated 130. In third, who was 14 lengths behind, was a horse called Breguet Boy that came out and won. Was given a £13 rise for his handicap debut win, now rated 122. And I just think a 133 for Tommy's Oscar, I just think is so exploitable. I've been through the whole of this field, and there's not anything I can see that is extremely well handicapped, bar perhaps the Shunter. And I'm not going to back the Shunter at 2 to 1. So at 10 to 1, Tommy's Oscar, you can back him each way. I can't have him out the frame. I'm adamant this is a well handicapped horse. I think he's at least a 140 horse. So that gives you £7 in hand, and that's without any forthcoming improvement. So Tommy's Oscar, be suited by the track, be suited by a strong pace. He'll finish strong. Well handicapped. He's definitely well handicapped, the owner.
Yeah, still just 6 years old as well, and obviously not too much
Yeah.
weight to shoulder. Tommy's Oscar then, yeah, have you got 10s there, did you say?
Yeah.
10 to 1. Okay, that's good. Andrew?
I'm with Hunter's Call here for the Ollie Murphy Yard. This one was a real eye catcher at Kempton last time, finishing third of 20. Wrote him up in the Racing Post Weekender that day. There's a big advantage to race wide at that Kempton meeting, particularly over hurdles, and he stayed round the inside throughout, whereas the winner and runner-up have challenged wide. The winner was a 66 to 1 shot, Boreham Bill, who stayed widest of all. This was the day when Mick Fitzgerald criticised McFabulous's jockey for winning from wide, and failed to realise that every single race was being won by horses who were racing wide. And when a 66 to 1 shot stays widest of all and wins, you think, hang on a minute, there might be a track bias here. So that was my take on the race. Hunter's Call, on the other hand, in the swamp on the inside rail under Aidan Coleman throughout, performed miracles to finish third, treaded very short in running. It was a 14 to 1 shot that day. He's an old boy. He's 11 years old now, but he's lightly raced for his age. This will be his 19th career start, and I really think he'll run well here. The time before, he ran another eye catcher as well behind Cateson at Aintree. Big advantage to be up with the pace that day. The winner made the running. The runner-up was prominent throughout. He's done best of those to come from off the pace in third. He's finished ahead of Mint Condition and Look My Way. That pair have run 1-2 at Weatherby next time, and then Mint Conditions run a blinder in graded company shortly afterwards. So the form of his last two races against a pace bias and against a going bias has been phenomenal. I really think, although he's an 11-year-old, 11 to 1 is a fair each way bet here.
It'll be the end of you, that horse. It'll be the end of you. He always flatters to deceive. He always trains short in running.
They're the worst ones.
You can be on each way at 11 to 1 and put into late evens in running if that makes you happier.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, and I'll take evens off you.
Yeah, they're both each way prices anyway in that 315. So Tommy's Oscar and Hunter's Call are the two we like there. Thanks to Daryl, I got it right. That's it at Kelso.
Yeah.
We now go down to Townmoor. We got that Good Mares race coming up, the listed race. That's at 2:20. And we've actually got about half this field are coming back from a few months break, aren't they? So a few ones that have been freshened up. What do we think about this race then, Daryl?
Oh, it don't get you excited, does it? It's not one that's going to get you swinging out of bed in the morning. I'm surprised to see Raina's World in here, given that she really wants deep ground. I thought she would have been a non-runner, but I was going to take a little bit of a chance on the horse called Global Harmony. Now, I was going through this race, and the form lines through here, they're just so chop and change and mix and match. It's very difficult to make sense of any sort of solid form lines. But I thought Global Harmony back on good ground. She's been running on soft the last twice, been well beaten, but back on good ground. And I think this horse has been crying out for a step up to 3 miles. So that would be my angle with backing something in here. Something that's going to improve for the trip, and I definitely think Global Harmony is going to do that. And the good ground, obviously, is key to her for Dan Skelton and Lockra Williams. I wasn't overly convinced by anything in this race. I do like Windhouse, but I've got a slight thing about whether or not she really wants 3 miles. I thought she was much better over 2.5, but that would just be a slight question mark of her. There's a horse in here called Dragon Bones, right? That has been in my tracker for a long time. Now, this horse came out. She's 20 to 1 shot in here. She came out after a couple of years off behind Eileen Dover, that really smart bumper horse at Market Raisin. She ran really well for a long way and then faded. But if you just take a look at her bumper win in Worcester in October in 2019, the horses she had in behind, Midnight River, Cadmar, Israel Champ, Benson, like, it's really, really strong form. Lord Baddesley. Definitely worth keeping an eye on this Ian Williams' Dragon Bones. But whether or not Hurdle debut today will be the day, I'm not entirely convinced. But keep that in your tracker, because I think she could be pretty useful going forward. But a bit of a punt bet again. Global Harmony for me, a double figure price each way.
Yeah, you don't obviously have to have a strong fancy in every race, do you? That's Global Harmony each way then, and maybe if there's money for Dragon Bones, or just perhaps see what happens with her. Andrew?
Yeah, I like one here called Airgead Suas. Now, if that pronunciation is wrong, then blame Gareth
Easy
Topham,
for you to say.
our William Hill radio colleague, because that's what he referred to the horse as when he won at Catterick in November. Now, that was his second straight win. After that, he's disappointed back at Catterick in December, but it was a time when the Stuart Edmonds horses were badly out of form. Now, in the last sort of week or so, they've started winning again. And I think he's had two of his last three horses who'd been off the track for sort of 5 or 6 weeks or longer have come out and won in the last few days. So I thought that you can draw a line through that last run because of the stable form. It was also on soft ground where his wins had come on good and good to soft. So with the stable going well, I think Charlie Hammond's on it. He's been in good form as well. I think there's every reason here to expect Airgead Suas to bounce back, around about 13-2, I think. Winhouse, I wouldn't be surprised if she won, but I'd put her up as a potential each way for the Mayor's Hurdle at Cheltenham, a race that Alan King's had 8 runners in, the 2.5 mile Mayor's race, and 4 of them have made the frame at 25-1 or bigger. So given her patient style and liking for goodish ground, I thought that maybe Winhouse, like Daryl, 2.5 miles, she could have run a really good race in that Mayor's Hurdle. So you'd have to respect the fact they're coming here instead. But at the prices, she's 2-1. My pick's 13-2. I've got to go with Stuart Edmonds as runner.
Yeah. Would you be surprised to see her do both? Winhouse? What would be the plan? Do you think if she's not ran for?
Yeah, there's not much of a gap really, is there? Obviously now between now and the Cheltenham Festival. So I'd be surprised, and I think perhaps they'd be looking at Aintree or Air, something like that, perhaps for a subsequent target.
Yeah. Okay. Airgead Suas, then, if that's how you say it, for Andrew. We just keep saying that so we don't get told off. And Global Harmony for Daryl. So again, both they're good value in that field, aren't they? That's the mare's race at 2:20. 2:55 is next, where we've got Rico Boy, who currently, at the time of recording, heads the betting. He gets a fair weight pull, actually, from the majority of the field around him, especially with Charlie Hammond's £3, who, Andrew, we were just talking about. Charlie Hammond's good form currently.
Yeah, Jockey's been in good nick, had a couple of winners from 11 runners in the past fortnight. And the thing is, when you go through this race, what you notice about previous winners and generally over fences at Doncaster is that it pays to be on the front end. So, looking at the running style, he came from midfield, went second at Mossaborough last time out. That's a track where it's hard to win from off the pace at the best of times. So I just worry that he might find himself, in the wrong place on this track as well. So at the prices, I could quite happily leave him alone, although I did mark up his last run. The one I like as a potential bet, or certainly a trade to back and lay in the race, is Zoffee for informed Philip Hobbs. He tends to do his winning from the front, and he could get an easy lead on the front end here. The smallish field will suit, given his running style. His last win came in a field of 3. He's won in a field of 6 as well. So I shall be backing Zoffee in the hope he gets a soft time of things in front. And the other one of interest as well was Movie Legend. He's an 11-year-old now, but he won this race 2 years ago, when always in the first couple of runners that day. Again, racing prominently in chases at Doncaster is the way to go. Second run after a wind operation. I think he's broken the record for the number of wind operations in his career. I think this was the 4th one. Didn't run particularly well last time, but he's the outside of the field, 16-1 with William Hill, who started betting on this race on Thursday. So wouldn't be the worst horse to have a small saver on if you fancy something else in the race. But I'll go with Zoffee as the main play.
Okay. Zoffee, main play. Keep an eye on Movie Legend then for Andrew. What do you think, Daryl?
I like Ballywood. Wind up, haven't had a spin and a bumper. I think this has probably been the plan. Returns to Doncaster. Last time he was here, he chased home Dynamite Dollars in 2019. The ground's come right for him. He beat Huntsman's Son here on his he's had 2 starts at Doncaster, right? He's chased home Dynamite Dollars, and then he beat Huntsman's Son prior to that, who's rated 147. This horse, I don't think he likes Cheltenham. 4 of his last 5 runs over fences have been at Cheltenham. He's down to a mark of 139. He's back to a track that he likes. I just think this horse is so well handicapped. I can't believe he's only 7. He feels like he's been around for so long. But he's a good jumper and he's a good horse on his day. And the handicapper has finally relented a little bit. Maybe that's why they've continued to run him at Cheltenham, because he just doesn't seem to like it there anymore. So I thought the angle in this race was finding something coming back, because coming back to a track that I like, Ballywood's one of those who just always lingers in a race, and you know he's got the ability to do it. He's just been sort of stuck at around 145 for a long time. So now he's down to 139. Perhaps there was an issue. Now he's had a wind up. He's fit from a run and a bumper. I'm expecting a massively improved performance from Ballywood. I don't really like anything else in this race, to be honest. I do like Zoffee, but he can make some horrendous mistakes. I don't think Richard Johnson helps him sometimes when he jumps the fences. Richard Johnson has this habit of leaning back as he gets to these fences, and Zoffee just seems to throw his head up in the air and clatter a couple. I do think he's the danger if he can put it all together. I think a mark of 131 for Zoffee is probably fair enough. Getaway Trump again back at 2 miles. I think he's going to clatter a fair few and find this a bit too quick. Rico Boy's been given a £7 rise for finishing second last time. Return Ticket's another one who can clatter a fair few fences. And then you got the old boys, Duke and Nav and a movie legend. I think Ballywood is definitely the one to be on in this race. I'd be quite confident he'd win this.
Okay. Ballywood for Daryl, then Zoffee for Andrew. This next race, when I had a look at this card, I actually was struggling for this because there's 2 that I like in here. One of them is a heart horse, so I ride Chef Douvre out at Sam England's. I really like him. He's a horse. He'd had a couple of starts since I've been riding out there, and she needed to try the tongue tie, so we tried it on. I rode him out at home to make sure he was fine in it. He was. And I just think that was kind of a plaster for the wind surgery. I think they knew that he was going to need that sorting out. I'm pretty sure he might have had it done before. But anyway, had a wind surgery since his last start. So I'm really hoping he'll run a better race. Obviously, don't carry much weight in there. Dave England is jocked up on him at the moment, obviously, because the Johnny can't ride, can he? So he's banned at the moment. So Dave rides instead, but I like Chef. And then Special Prep, the outsider of the whole field at the moment. I thought everything might fall right for him. He's had a couple of runs in those jumpers bumpers, likes to sit handy, sound of surface. So there was both of those 2 in there that I like, but I'm sure you 2 will be able to tell us what the winner is if you want to start, Daryl.
Stop trying to cover it up. Have you got any inside information or what? Well, come on, what's going on?
No. When he had the tongue tie, it was Sam had kind of said he needs a wind up really. But I think what had happened, you can see for yourself on the numbers and the spaces that he's had. He's a horse that they've struggled to keep him sound, I think, over the years. So she'd kind of said, I'm not, forking out for him to have a wind up until we know he's going to stay sound. And he's kind of right. Well, he has stayed sound. He's great. He's looking well. Obviously, the tongue tie was a band-aid, and now he's had a wind up. So
he wins.
Well, I like it, so I hope so. I love
the one I came down on was Beware the Bear. The blinkers kept on. He's got an entry in the Ultimate handicap, so it could just be a spin before he goes there, for all I know. But I really couldn't have any sort of confidence in anything in the field. I thought Canelo could go well because Beware the Bear's in here, so he's sort of compressing his weight down. So he's only carrying 11 stone 6, so that might be an angle into Canelo. He's probably the best horse in the race, but I thought Beware the Bear. I thought his last run when he was 5th in the Ladbroke, I thought that was a decent run. Sorry, his penultimate start on good ground. He was 5th in the Ladbroke. I thought that was a decent run. Forgive the last run at Ascot on dire ground. He wants good ground. I think he's quite consistent. And that's kind of what I was looking for in this race. There will definitely not be a bet from me in this race, but I was just trying to find something that was consistent. And this is an easier race than the big field handicaps that he's been used to contesting. So I just thought that combination, and he goes well when he's fitted with his headgear, or any headgear, in fact. So the fact that that's on is probably a positive for him here, given that entry in the Ultimate handicap. But it wasn't a really overly confident selection. It was just looking for something that is gonna run well, basically.
Yeah, if you've got to pick something, that's who you choose. Yeah. So Beware the Bear for Daryl. Andrew, what are you siding with in this?
I'm very keen on the Ian Williams runner here, Red Infantry. The key to him is a small field. When he's had fields of 9 or fewer runners over hurdles or fences, 4 wins from 12 starts. Now, if you split those 12 starts into running style, 6 times he was ridden patiently, he got beat all 6 times. 6 times he was prominent or made the running, 4 wins, a second and a fourth. Now, he ran in a field of 8 here last time, a veterans handicap chase behind Bow Bay, was given a patient ride, plodded on to finish 6th, beat about 12 lengths. That was over 3 miles. Now, he's been dropped £3 as a result, which is generous. I thought in a race largely devoid of pace, if they go from the front here, it's one of those bets where I'll have a small bet pre-race, but when you're watching them line up at the start, if he looks like he's going to line up on the tape and try and get a flyer, then Red Infantry's has got an absolutely fantastic chance here. The rest of them tend to come from off the pace. Now, in the last 10 years, 7 winners of this race were prominent or made the running. Front runners are 3 from 10 in the race in the last decade. Hold-up horses have won it 3 times, but from a sample of 47 runners. And you do your absolute cobblers back in a hold-up horse in this race. Canelo tends to come from off the pace. So why you want to back a 2-1 shot who could be held up in a steadily run contest, I'll be amazed. I mean, Beware the Bear is half interesting because he has made the running in the past, although he doesn't usually. We're normally used to seeing him sort of plod on from the back to finish in the frame in the Hennessy. So again, if you can tell your friend Sam that maybe Chef Douvre might want to be on the front end here in a race devoid of pace and a race that's massively favoured front runners in recent years, then that could be an angle as well. So a small bet on Red Infantry to start off with, but make sure you've got your betting accounts open when you're watching them line up at the start. And if you see one that you think is going to get a relatively soft time of things in front, then back that one.
Or just hold out for the text from Leonna.
If only. I don't get texts. No, okay. Well, I'm not sure we've helped you that much there. Daryl just about on Beware the Bear in that 3:30. Andrew, Red Infantry. And I probably am going to go with Chef. I like Chef. But it wouldn't surprise me if Special Prep ran well or did win. I wouldn't be so shocked because everything should be right. But who knows? Difficult race. And I think that's it for Doncaster, isn't it? So we go to Newbury now. We've got one of those very easy betting races for the 115, one of those veteran chases. And I'm sure, Andrew, you've told me in the past something about 10-year-olds in these, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. 10-year-olds are the youngest age group eligible to take part in these races. If you take every single veterans handicap chase ever run in Britain or Ireland, 10-year-olds win over 14% of the time. 11-year-olds less than 10%, and 12-year-olds only around 6%. So you've got a massive advantage if you just bet all the 10-year-olds. I mean, talking about that Bow Bay race at Doncaster the other day, there were 3 10-year-olds. Bow Bay's one of them, 16-1 into 8-1, who's made all, and I'd bet the other 2 in the race. But that's another story. Still gives me nightmares. Now, again, we look at this race. We just sort them by age. You've only got 2 10-year-olds in the entire field. And this race has been run 8 times previously. 7 of the 8 winners were 10-year-olds. So immediately you're thinking, well, I'm just going to back the pair of them. Colorado Doc, 18-1 with Hills. The King's Writ, 11-1. Now, Colorado Doc's the one I've actually tipped up in, I think it was the Weekender or Racing and Football Outlook this week. Form figures going into the race have pulled up, fell and pulled up. Doesn't exactly entice confidence, but the pulled up came on his seasonal debut, and the other 2 non-completions came on right-handed tracks. He's one of these horses who shows an obvious liking for going left-handed, jumps out to his left when he's going right-handed, as he did last time out, and this looks very winnable. He looks well handicapped. He'd appreciate going this way round again, and I'll be backing both 10-year-olds, but Colorado Doc's the one I prefer.
Okay, yeah, literally as I looked down the race and I just saw 11-year-old. I thought Andrew won't be siding with any of those. So at Colorado Doc then for Andrew, have you got a price there, 20s?
Yeah, I've seen 18-1 William Hill. That's the only price I've looked at so far.
Okay, yeah.
We'll take that.
Daryl, yeah, 18s, 20, that's okay. Daryl?
He literally just took every word I was going to say about this race. I promise you, every word of it that I was going to say. But the only difference was I was going to say back the
Meatloaf. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I was going to say, but instead of Colorado Doc, I was going to side with the King's Writ. That's
Oh.
basically it. Only simply because, like Andy says about the 10-year-olds, this is King's Writ's first time in a veteran chase, and his run prior to that, he just run 2 starts ago at Wincanton when beating 3/4 length by Dawson City. He should have won that race, but for a mistake at the final fence. I think you can forgive him his last run when beating 45 lengths. That came too soon. That was just inside 2 weeks next time, and I think that Wincanton run against Dawson City probably took a bit more out of him. He's won on good ground before, so the ground shouldn't be an issue. I've always thought he wanted this trip, and Ben Godfrey is a decent jockey for his £5 claim. So I like the angle. He's effectively running off a mark of 134, so I think he's got a good chance.
Yeah, and they're both good each way value as well then. So the King's Writ, Colorado Dock, the 2 10-year-olds. They're what you want in that veterans chase. The 1:15 at Newbury. Our last scheduled races, the next race at Newbury, it's that 1:50. Greatwood Gold Cup handicap chase, grade 3. And Paul Nicholls got a really good record in this race, and he's got Grand Sancy in here, who at the moment, Daryl, is at the top of our betting.
Don't worry about Grand Sancy. He's not going to win this. I've got the winner of this race. Sit back, relax. You're going to need to give me a good few minutes. Right, Senior Citizen is the horse that's going to win this race. This horse on chase debut conceded race fitness, right, and experience when he was second to the big boy at Doncaster on soft ground, right? Now, the winner is now rated 146, and the Senior Citizen is £12 better off of him in this race. Okay, I'm going to try and do this really slowly. In third that day was Caribeno Boy, who's now rated 156. In fourth was Nesta Park, who was rated 136, £2 higher than Senior Citizen is in here. He was closing down on the big boy all the way to the line. And he did the best of those held up when the first, the third, and the fourth were all ridden prominently that day. He went out next time and he won by 11 lengths on handicap debut. Over fences off a mark of 125 at Fakenham, and not many horses at all win from off the pace at Fakenham. He disappointed at Stratfield in a small field event for some strange reason. I couldn't really work out why. But then he makes his seasonal return at Newton Abbot on good ground and beats Darling Malte in the novice chase. And the Darling Malte went out next time and bolted up by 53 lengths. He's rated 132. Okay, and then he goes and bumps into none other than a very well handicapped Espoir de Rome at Huntington. Despite trying to give him £10 in weight, he was only beaten 2 1/4 lengths. The pair pulled 45 lengths clear of 121, 130, and 134 rated horses. We know Espoir de Rome is very well handicapped off a mark of 140. And then if you go back and watch his last run, he ran an absolute stormer in the Grand Sefton. And he was second coming over the last and was just outstayed at the finish. This horse is back on good ground today. He's been given a short break before this race, not been seen since the 5th of December. His record fresh reads 1-2-1 over obstacles, and his form figures on good ground read 2-1-6-6-3-1. If he had course form, if he'd have run at Newbury before and what, this would be a maximum bet, this would. But I'm trying not to get too carried away because I really, really fancy him for this off a mark of 134. I think he's got a massive, massive chance. The only other one I'm slightly worried about would be another Crick for Noel Williams, who ran an excellent race in the Warwick Castle behind ASO and 2 for Gold last time. Now, ASO was entered in this race. He would have received £23 of him this day, so he would have been £4 better off. Another Crick just made a mistake at the wrong time in that race, and then tried going up the inside rail, and the gap was blocked for him. He had to switch and come wide. That was on soft ground. He's back on good ground, for which he absolutely adores. And he's won over course and distance in a novice chase here, albeit off a mark of 117. He's improving quite rapidly. Mark of 133, could underestimate him. So I'm going to have a hefty bet on Senior Citizen, who was a double figure price. Now he's not. Now he's 7-1. And then I'm going to have a little saver on another Crick. So that's it. Don't worry about this race, Anne. We don't need you.
I was just about to say, I hope that's your nap. That's as excited as I think I've ever seen you. Very animated. We will take Andrew's view anyway, just in case. Go on, Andrew.
Yeah, maximum place lay Senior Citizen. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I take the point with Senior Citizen being best when fresh. All his wins have come on one of his first 2 starts each season, 2 of them first time out. And last season and the season before, he tended to go off the boil from his 3rd start onwards. Daryl was trying to explain away that last of 4 effort at Stratford. It's probably because it was his, I think, 3rd or 4th run in relatively quick succession. So it's interesting that this season they've given him a mid-season break to come back fresh. That seems like a good idea. I expect he's going to run well. I do quite like Grand Sancy. At the moment, I don't like the price. As soon as the betting opened, he was hammered. He's 7-2 favourite now. But the key to him is not racing right-handed. And since he had wind surgery, when he's gone left-handed or raced on a figure of 8 track, he's 4 from 4 below Grade 1 level. He's miles out to his left at Wincanton last time. So given Nichols' record in the race, you'd certainly respect him. But yeah, it was between him and Senior Citizen for me. So not had a bet in the race. I think I'd feel guilty betting Grand Sancy just in case he did Daryl's 5-star nap of the century by nose. So
yeah,
I think I'll just take a back seat and cheer on Daryl's horse.
I think I will as well now. He would never talk to us again. So, yeah, Senior Citizen, interesting then. Definitely for Daryl in that 150. That is it for the scheduled races. We've obviously got tips and from other races and other meetings as well. So we'll start with anything else if you've got anything. Do you want to go first, Daryl?
Yeah, I haven't got anything else at the moment. There's a couple of races I'm going to go through this afternoon: the 2:30 at Newbury, the 3:05 at Newbury, because I think I'm going to be able to suss them out. But they'll go on the GG column for Saturday. If there's anything in there, of course.
You should have done your homework.
We'll take them on Saturday as long as we get them. That's the
I was so excited about Senior Citizen that I didn't think anything else mattered really.
Well, I'm sure, Andrew, you haven't you? Because, of course, we've got Lingfield and Southall. So anything anywhere else for you?
Yeah, there's a couple of races to mention. The first is the 12:40 at Newbury, the first race. And we've got a seniors handicap hurdle. This is basically a veterans race for hurdlers. Now, like with chases where you can back the 10-year-olds, the youngest age group eligible to run, with veterans hurdles, seniors hurdles as I now call them, it's 8-year-olds. And basically, we get very few of these races, but had you backed all the 8-year-olds, you'd have made a profit. £26.75 over the years. We've had 4 runnings of this race. Every single year it's been won by an 8-year-old. Now, last year there were 4 8-year-olds in the race. They provided the 25-1 winner, the 9-4 second, and the 40-1 fourth. They've just missed out on the TriCast. We had 8 at the 5-day stage, and that's been whittled down to 3. And the one I liked when there were 8 8-year-olds in the race was Equus Millar, and he's one of the 3 that still stands. And he's well handicapped on his old form. He's back over hurdles after a spell chasing. So Equus Millar in the 12:40. And the horse to look forward to most. I was
going to say the favourite's 11.
But forget that. There's a horse called Caribeno, trained by Sir Mark Prescott, who's been really impressive in his last few starts. He's now won his last 4, gone up from a handicap mark of 57 to 80, but there's a good reason for expecting that 80 to be on the generous side. 2 runs ago, he made all at Southall from a subsequent winner. There was a really strong headwind in the straight that day. That was a really impressive performance to defy that. Last time out, he's gone to Newcastle. Now, he's 6-5 on, but he's making the running at Newcastle over 2 miles, which is very, very difficult to pull off. And he's won by half a length after getting headed 3 out. He's traded about 20-1, 25-1 in running, still managed to win. So he's only gone up £4 for that. You could argue he should be rated 90 plus and 95, maybe even higher. And he's in at Lingfield in the apprentice race. That's the 3:46 on Saturday. So Caribeno, he's probably not going to be much of a price. But yeah, he's the horse I'm most looking forward to seeing what he goes on to later on the turf season.
Yeah, I was at Newcastle that day, and I think that was the big thing, wasn't it? I didn't think he'd win because of the headwind, but did anyway, just kept going. So interesting. Caribeno then in that 3:46, which is the last at Lingfield. I think we've given you plenty of selections there. Obviously, we've got naps to come. I'm fairly sure I can guess what Daryl's is, but go on.
Oh, yeah, just before we do that, I forgot to thank you for your nap on, when was it? Wednesday?
Newcastle on Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, well done. Well done.
Thanks. Well, I tried to help you. Give the winner of the first, which you give me praise for. So I sent you an app and you didn't back it anyway. So.
I'll tell you what, I'll try and repay the favour here with senior citizen at Newbury.
Well, I will back it now as well. So if it doesn't win, I'll be scolding you at the TV for my fiver or whatever I put on. So yeah, senior citizen for you, Andrew.
Yeah, you missed a chance of a good segue there. Talking of senior citizens, what's your nap, Andrew?
I would never say that about you, Andrew.
Maybe next time. Yeah, I've not seen any prices yet, but Caribeno in that 346 at Lingfield on Saturday.
Yeah, I've got 10 to 11 on my screen, but that could be wrong, of course. And mine's going to be any news. I'm going to stick with any news, I think. That's it then. Naps and all selections. As Daryl said, of course, there'll be more selections, as there always is, every day on GG.CO.UK. And I'm sure they'll have some more for you on Saturday as well. So do make sure you check out that website. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And obviously like all our social media outlets at GG.CO.UK. Obviously, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, as are all the guys and myself. And we're looking forward as well to bringing you some extra stuff from Cheltenham next week. So that will obviously be a longer preview. So I hope that you can join us. And I hope you've enjoyed the show.